Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Learn and Try with JA, and today we're going to talk about living in China. So welcome, sit in, listen, relax, enjoy. Hey, so if you're planning to go to China or you're thinking about living there, then this video is for you. So I lived in China for about 6 years, and during my time there, I was studying, and of course, I had my experiences, maybe different from everyone else. But I want to summarize everything. Of course, I cannot tell you 6 years of experiencing things in one video, but I have categorized the things that I'm going to talk about into four. So I'm going to talk about the language, the culture, the weather, and the food. All right, let's dive into it. So the first thing is language. When I was going to China for the first time, I could not speak a word of Mandarin. I did not know how to speak. Some friends of mine that had been to Beijing told me that no problem, people speak English in China, relax. But unfortunately, that was not the case. And imagine when I was going, I didn't even have a smartphone. I only had an analog phone that could not even recognize Mandarin characters. So anytime I would receive a message, it would just show boxes so I can tell you it was quite challenging for me at first when I got there because communicating, even going to a restaurant and just asking for what you eat was a challenge. And even going to the supermarket to buy things, sometimes I would buy salt instead of sugar because I could not, um, I did not know Mandarin at all. I could not recognize characters. I was just zero. So I think when you're going there, you should not have very high expectations in terms of you expect almost everyone to be able to speak a foreign language like English. Just know they have their official language, which is Mandarin, and you might need to start picking it up so that it will be easy for you to move around. Because things got better for me when I started learning the language, and at least I could express myself. And generally, Chinese people really like it when you make that attempt to speak their language. So that is number one. Number two is culture. Chinese culture, and I come from Kenya, and Kenyan culture is very different. You know how we are, let me say, socialization is different and how we take things. I feel like China had a very serious attitude and approach to things. For example, day one of the semester, the lecturer would arrive on time. He would go, or he or she would go directly to the syllabus, and we would start moving chap 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 chap. But like in Kenya, it's a little bit chill. So that culture, that change, things are taken very seriously. People are on time, African timing. So it can be a challenge at first, but once you understand that these people they value time, they take things very seriously, then you just need to make sure if you're going to meet up with them or you're going for class, just be there on time and try and understand and appreciate that they're quite different from where you're from. All right, now let's talk about food. Now, when it comes to food, before I went to China, people used to tell me, so what are you gonna do about food? I hear they eat all types of strange things, but actually they have Chinese cuisine is very, very interesting and nice. I enjoyed the food. I personally enjoyed very much because I generally just from where I come from, we eat beef, goat. I mean, we eat meat, we eat vegetables, and in China there's a variety. You'll get the beef, you'll get the chicken, you'll get the what else? If you eat pork, you'll get fish, like all the types of fish. And then if you are that person that likes to explore, you'll get seafood, you'll get bullfrog. And I'm really actually happy I had the audacity to try out the bullfrog because it was actually nice and it made me realize that just because back where I come from, we don't eat these things does not mean they're necessarily bad things or they're not good tasting. So when you're going to China, have an open mind about food because the food will be different. It will not be like where you're from. But some of it you will like, some of it you will not like, and it's okay. There's Kenyan food that I personally don't like, and there's some that I really, really like. So it's okay. Just go with an open attitude and just enjoy the food. All right, now let's talk about the last thing. The last thing is the weather. So I come from Kenya, and Kenya is along the equator, and the temperatures are like from January to December. It's almost like one season. The change is not like there's not very much difference. For example, in the cold season, I can actually get away without wearing a sweater. So the China has four distinct seasons like summer, winter, spring, autumn. So spring and autumn, no big deal. But winter and summer were crazy. I don't think Kenya has ever been as hot as at one point when I was staying in Wuhan. It got so hot, I think to the tunes of 40 degrees, and it was unbearable. Then again, winter. Winter is really, really cold. When I first went to China, people were telling me it's gonna get cold, but not having had that experience, I did not understand what kind of cold they were talking about. It's negatives, -10. It gets really cold. So you have to be prepared. Like you need to take care of your body because perhaps everyone's body reacts in different ways. And I can tell you, for me, my first winter with snow, at first, it was exciting because some of my classmates, Chinese classmates, some of them were from the southern part where it doesn't really snow. And we were playing in the snow. It was so much fun. But then when I got my period, I had very severe cramps. And, um, it was quite painful. And I felt like, oh my, I'm going to die. It was like the worst cramps I've ever had because my body was in shock. But then with time, I got used to it and I learned how to dress. You need to have some warm clothes. Just take care of yourself and keep on checking and listening to your body. The good thing is that most of the time our bodies adapt. They take time, but adapt. Okay. So those are the four things I wanted to discuss. And if you have any questions, you can ask below, and maybe I can make a more detailed video about the things you ask about. And also, if you're thinking about going to China, like the opportunities there, you want to go, I will tell you, don't hesitate. I believe through seeing the world, going out there, we learn more. So all the best, and I wish you the very best in life. Bye.